What if a single letter could destroy everything the royal family has built? What if Princess Diana's voice came back from the grave to shatter her son's world? Imagine this. A hidden safe, locked away for decades, is suddenly opened by King Charles himself, revealing a secret so explosive that it left Prince William and Prince Harry speechless. Inside, there's a letter from their mother, Princess Diana, written just weeks before her tragic death. A letter that no one knew existed until now. What did she say? Why was it hidden? How did it reopen old wounds between her sons that we all thought were healing? Stay tuned, because by the end of this, you'll see the royal family in a way you've never seen before. And trust me, you won't believe what she asked for. The revelation that shook the palace. All right, let's set the scene. Picture a dark, quiet room deep inside Clarence's house, a place where secrets go to hide. No cameras, no press, just King Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry standing around a small, dusty safe that hasn't been touched in over 20 years. The air was thick with tension, as if everyone knew something significant was about to happen. Charles, with hands that were reportedly shaking, turned the key and pulled out a single envelope. On it, in Diana's unmistakable handwriting, were the words, "For my boys." Charles looked at his sons and said just one thing. This was her last request. Then, silence. The kind of silence that feels like it's screaming. Inside that envelope was a letter Diana wrote in the summer of 1997, just weeks before that tragic night in Paris. It wasn't some official document or a list of royal demands. It was personal, raw, and straight from her heart. William and Harry, now grown men with their own families, stood there reading their mother's words for the first time, and it hit them like a freight train. Harry later told a close friend, "It was like she was standing right there, talking to us." William, usually the picture of control, reportedly had to sit down, his face pale and his hands gripping the paper so tightly that it almost tore. So, what did the letter say? It wasn't about money, titles, or even revenge against the royal family. Though, let's be real, Diana had every reason to feel bitter after what she endured. This was a mother's desperate plea for her son's happiness. She wrote, "Let them live without fear. Let them be themselves." She was referring to William and Harry, the two boys she fought so hard to protect from the cold, rigid world of the monarchy. She begged them to choose freedom over duty, love over legacy, and to never let the crown crush their spirits. "I don't want them trapped in a life they didn't build," she wrote. "They must be free to love, to feel, to lead without masks." Think about that for a second. Here's a woman adored by millions, but feeling completely trapped inside the royal machine. She understood firsthand how the palace could turn people into statues, shiny on the outside but hollow on the inside. She had seen it happen to Charles, to his father, and to generations of royals before them. The monarchy didn't teach its heirs to feel. It taught them to perform, to smile for the cameras while their hearts were breaking. Diana refused to let that happen to her boys. She wanted them to be human, not just symbols. Diana's revolutionary approach to motherhood. Diana's letter revealed her concerns about her sons, William and Harry. She understood that their roles in the royal family would be different. William, as the future king, would bear the heavy burden of the crown. Diana described this burden as heavier than any jewel. Harry, as the spare, would face an even more difficult feeling, the constant awareness of being second, always in William's shadow. She feared that expectations would shape both of them instead of their own desires, and that the palace would diminish their true selves. This letter wasn't about rebellion, it was about protecting them. Diana had experienced what she called the monarchy's emotional vacuum. She had longed for warmth, but received only protocols. She needed support, but found silence. Even as the most photographed woman in the world, she felt invisible, and she didn't want this to happen to her sons. The shocking part of the letter is that Charles hid it for over 20 years. This wasn't an old file lost in the palace. Charles had deliberately locked it away in his personal safe, hidden beneath official documents. Insiders say Charles feared the impact of Diana's words. If her last wish was for her sons to step away from royal control, it could shake the monarchy. The system relies on duty and heirs maintaining their roles, regardless of the cost. Diana's letter was powerful, and Charles wanted to keep it secret. Some palace aides claim Charles thought he was protecting his sons. He worried the letter would push Harry further away and create doubts in William's mind about being king. Others argue it was about power and controlling the monarchy's image. Regardless of the reason, the truth is out now, and it has shaken the royal family. For William and Harry, this letter served as a message from their mother and a reflection on their choices and their loss. For William, it was even more personal because there was another letter addressed only to him, and its contents brought him to his knees. However, Diana's letter didn't just stir up memories, it reignited old wounds between William and Harry. The brothers have been on separate paths for years, William supporting the crown, while Harry sought freedom. Now, faced with their mother's words, they must confront the question, who truly honored her wish? Was it Harry, who left royal life to live as he chose, or William, who stayed to change things from inside the system? And why did Charles keep this truth hidden for so long, knowing how important it would be to his sons? These questions are not just personal, they could tear the royal family apart for good. The letter that broke William. Let's discuss the second letter that affected William deeply. It was discovered in 2004 during a quiet renovation of Diana's old rooms at Kensington Palace. Inside a personal photo album, people found an envelope that was simply addressed to "My William." Unlike the first letter, which was a plea for both her sons, this one felt more personal, like a private chat between a mother and her future king. When William read it, sources say it overwhelmed him. In the letter, Diana warned William about the challenges he would face. She talked about the pressures, expectations, and sacrifices that come with being king. "You will be king one day," she wrote, "but promise me you won't lose the boy inside you." Diana asked him to stay kind and true to himself, reminding him that the crown is heavy, but it doesn't have to crush you. Lead with your heart, not just your title. For William, now a husband, father, and the heir to the throne, her words brought back everything he had tried to keep hidden. Sources say William broke down while reading the letter. This wasn't the strong prince people saw in public. This was a grieving son mourning his mother, worried that he hadn't lived up to her dreams. "It was like she saw right through me," he told a close friend. "All the masks, all the strength, it didn't matter. She just wanted me to be me." Even decades after her death, Diana's words still guided him, but they also raised questions. Had William stayed in his royal role out of sense of duty or fear? And was Harry, his brother with whom he had grown distant, the one who truly embraced their mother's wishes? Now, let's go back and look at how Diana raised her boys. This is important for understanding why her letter affected them so strongly, and why it's causing rifts between them. Diana didn't raise princes, she raised boys. Messy, curious boys. She broke many royal rules. While other royals had nannies and tutors, Diana was hands-on. She took William and Harry on fun excursions that the palace considered unusual. Late-night fast food runs, secret trips to theme parks, and even rides on the London Underground. "She wanted us to see the real world," Harry said, "not just rule it." Diana thought future kings should understand the people they would lead. She believed that empathy was a strength, not a weakness. She met with homeless people, walked through minefields, and supported AIDS patients, taking her sons along to help them feel, understand, and care. She didn't want kings, one of her friends said. She wanted good men. This approach shaped William and Harry in important ways, but it also led them down different paths. William stayed in his royal role, determined to modernize the monarchy from within, to make it more caring, like the world his mother showed him. Harry left, seeking the freedom Diana dreamed of, and refusing to let the palace define him or his family. William versus Harry. The fallout. Diana's letter changed everything for William and Harry. It made William feel guilty, though he chose to focus on his duty and family stability. Harry felt validated by the letter, which deepened their differences. The letter aimed to set them free, but it showed how tightly the crown holds onto its heirs. Charles hid the letter because he feared what it might reveal. He wanted to protect the monarchy and his sons. He worried that the letter could raise questions about how the palace treated Diana's wishes. Keeping it secret only postponed the issue. The letter reminded William and Harry of their mother's love and dreams for them. William works within the royal system, while Harry seeks to live outside it, but they both want a kinder world. The big question now is whether this shared goal can bring them back together. The monarchy faces a choice between sticking to tradition and making changes. Diana's voice still matters in their decisions and actions. What happens next for William, Harry, and the crown is uncertain, but Diana's influence remains strong.